What's up, everybody? I'm Carolyn Manno. Thanks for clicking into Sportsnaut. We're talking about the NBA season. It's set to tip off on December 22nd, joined by Sports Illustrated senior writer Chris Mannix. So, Chris, the season getting set to go. There are some restrictions in place, but certainly not the bubble that we were used to that earned a lot of praise over the course of the playoffs. This is a different animal. What can we expect?
Well, I don't think we can expect the type of seamless health that you had in the bubble. I mean, for the better part of 3 months, the NBA did not experience any COVID-19 positives amongst players, to the point where the league in the middle of the bubble just stopped announcing it, because they basically told the media that, we'll let you know if somebody tests positive. Now, the numbers are starting to come down, but there have been more than 50 positive tests amongst players since testing began on December 2nd. That number figures to rise once teams start traveling. Now, the NBA did a pretty good job at trying to reduce the travel for teams this season by about 25%. You're going to see teams, for example, that go through New York play the Knicks and the Nets while they're there, or the Lakers play the Lakers and the Clippers while they're there, to kind of cut back on road trips and cut back on potential exposures. But there's only so much you can do, and there's only so much, faith you can put in NBA players to do the right thing at all times. I mean, these are young guys. A lot of them feel kind of invincible at times. So you have to expect these COVID tests will pop up. And then the question becomes, how does the NBA respond to that? They have in their health and safety protocols rules that say if a guy has a positive test, he's basically got to be out for at least 12 days. If multiple players are out for 12 days, what happens there? Do they postpone games? Do they cancel games? How does that affect the integrity of the season? I mean, Adam Silver has let owners know that this has the potential to be a pretty bumpy ride, and I think he's right.
Yeah, get ready for your lineups to look a little bit different if you're a fan at home. And you mentioned the players, having some self-discipline here. There's a responsibility aspect to this. If you look at the NFL by comparison and what happened over the course of this fall, rumor mill swirling a little bit, some guys wearing masks, some guys not so much. And you can tell that the players got more and more vocal over the course of the NFL season about how disappointed they were, how frustrated they were about the schedule, how some felt like their safety was at risk. I mean, you've been in this league a long time. You've covered the NBA. You know these players. How much self-discipline do you expect them to have?
I mean, some, I guess, especially when it comes to older players, and it will be on the older players to set an example for some of the younger guys. But we are talking about guys, many of them, if not most, in the early to mid-20s. Some of them, in fact, many of them have already had COVID-19 before. Maybe they think they're not prone to get reinfected the second time around. I think it's unavoidable. And this is where I think it may have been a mistake for the NBA to not bubble up to start the season. Now, the idea of doing one bubble for 6 months just wasn't feasible. Michelle Roberts, the head of the Players Union, told me that was never going to happen. But in the last couple of months, what's been discussed are things like regional bubbles, where you have 5 or 6 bubbles where maybe they're divided per division, and you have teams go into a bubble for a month, and then they have 2 weeks out of the bubble to be with their families and resume a sense of normalcy. That at least would protect the integrity of the games. That's really all that matters here. I mean, there's really not going to be much in the way of fan revenue this season. In some markets, you'll be able to bring some fans into the buildings, but for the most part, it's going to be rather small. It's all going to come down to these games, and to protect the integrity of the games, going back in the bubble could look to be the best idea.
From what you can gather, why didn't those regional bubbles ultimately come to fruition with so much at stake?
Well, as much as I minimize what teams are going to make from fan revenue, it will still be something. And who knows, Carolyn, like 3 months, we could have, half the states in the country decide they can open up and allow more fans in. That's real money. I mean, NBA revenue, NBA in-arena revenue accounts for 40% of what the league makes. So if they can get back even a fraction of that, they're going to take it. They're going to find a way. The NBA bubble over the summer cost them more than $100 million. And that's not something they're looking to spend if they don't have to.
All right, Chris Mannix, a lot ahead for us in what could be a tumultuous NBA season as the coronavirus pandemic rages on across the country. Thanks for being with us and clicking into Sportsnaut.
You got it.